This is Will Knight, and we are back with another podcast, and we're here at the Design Center at the Merchandise Mart. And our guest for today is
Thomas DiGiorgi.
Thomas,
to be here.
How's it going?
Things are good. Things are real good. I can't complain.
You're at the Merchandise Mart. What is to complain about?
I know it's a beautiful building surrounded by beautiful things. So it's a great place to be, especially if you like design.
So tell me, how did you get started?
It's a journey, but it's a quick one.
Okay.
I went to school for design and marketing.
Okay.
And upon graduating, I immediately went into outside sales, working as a manufacturer's rep in Western Pennsylvania. And I worked with some of the best independent lines. Really learned a lot from my previous boss and mentor. And then life kind of took me away from it. Some family obligations took me away from working for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And when I came back into realizing I wasn't independently wealthy, and those issues, resolved themselves one way or the other, I realized the things that I liked to do were the big picture planning, and I wanted to stay in the design trade. And so I started my own company 20 years ago, working as a sales and marketing consultant. And I luckily get to work in environments like this.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
So how did we're going to go back to you're 16 years old. What happened?
Really design came out of just my interest in art, mm-hmm. and my mother's commitment to fostering that at every turn. Every single Saturday we were at the museum, either with her taking us, or as children, or really then enrolling me in art classes. So all day Saturday I would spend in museums and just really look at the art, focus on the art, and practice my craft. Yeah. And that took me to design and marketing, and then the rest is history.
So, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I like to go to museums, but I never go every Saturday or every week.
Yeah.
But that's great, though.
I was lucky. She really made that a focus for me, and I'm one of three. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And she really found the things that worked well for each of us. Okay. And she just, she threw her whole life into us. And the one for me was, design and museums and art and culture that way. Yeah. And I really am thankful for that.
So when was your first time at the Mart?
First time at the Mart was in 97. Okay. I was in college and I came to NeoCon, the trade fair that happens here every June. Mm-hmm. And I came to NeoCon with a friend from school, I should say. And we were just here checking everything out and seeing what was going on. And I realized I was in the right place. And went back, like I said, worked in Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh specifically. Worked for about 8 years then, once I graduated. Came every year for the trade show. Really enjoyed it, and then realized when I started my business that I wanted to move to Chicago. And just because this is the center of contract furniture mm-hmm. in the country, and I thought it would give some credibility to this new young kid who wanted to knock on doors and have people yes. let him be part of what they were doing.
So tell me about contractor. You say contracting furniture?
Yeah.
What is that?
So contract furniture would be everything outside of the home. Okay. So the industry is truly at a very high level divided into residential mm-hmm. and contract. This building also has residential showrooms on the first and some other floors as well, but they have 3 floors of contract furniture. So this would be everything from workplace and office all the way to hospitality, hotels, sporting venues, basically any of that third space outside of your home.
Okay, all right. So how did you start Thomas Patrick Consulting?
When I again realized I wasn't independently wealthy, I had to put some.
You weren't born with silk sheets?
No silk sheets. That's for sure. I kept thinking of what I had done the previous 8 years. I knew mm-hmm. I didn't want to leave the industry. I also had enjoyed the sales process, but knew I wanted to tackle it in a different way. And starting Thomas Patrick Consulting was born out of what I enjoyed doing, the big picture things mm-hmm. that my previous mentor allowed me to do, and do it at a bigger scale, do it on a national scale with national brands.
What was the turning point in your life where you went from working for someone to working for yourself?
It's funny, I've been thinking about that lately. My company is about 20, 21 years old, and 10 years into it, I had a dinner to thank a couple people, and it was about 15 to 20 people that were instrumental in that process specifically. One that sticks out was a cousin of mine on a family vacation looked at me and my mom when we were sitting on the beach in Delaware and said, "Don't work for somebody else, you can do this." And that scared my mom a little, although my mom was very entrepreneurial as well. But she was like, "He has a great job, don't mess this up." But that was one person in a long line of people, from my mentor to my mother to my uncle and many other people, that helped me really kind of craft this path forward. I laugh with people that I'm a horrible employee, but I make a great consultant. On day one, Monday, they'd love me as an employee. Wednesday, they'd be okay with me, and on Friday, they'd want me out. So that's the thing that I think drives me, is just knowing where I fit best in the world, and definitely working for myself is one of those.
So in 2023, what happened? You launched?
Yes, 2023, I was product design, being around it, selling it, marketing it, being in situations like this showroom. I've always been drawn to products and color and design, and I was approached by a leather company to create a collection within their collection.
Okay.
And so I was able to launch 4 articles, or patterns, if you will, of leather, and create the color palettes, dictate the names, and go through that whole design process. And it was really rewarding and refreshing. Through that, I launched DiGiorgi Studio, which is a sub-brand that I'm working on and company to take other initiatives forward. I'm working on a table design with a potential manufacturer and some other designs as well.
Really?
So these are things that are like passion projects for me, and things that I want to do and ramp up as I keep going through my tenure in the industry.
So being a small business owner, or a large business owner, especially at the merchandise mart.
I just work for the guys here, so I am definitely a small business owner.
What are some of your creative or business challenges? Let's start with creative.
Creative challenges, I think finding the time to do it. One of the reasons that I really enjoyed those museum days, I'd be at the museum for 6 hours on a Saturday and had the time dedicated to do it, and to sit and draw or read about art or study it or learn about it and just see it. Taking that time and carving that out, and everyone's busy, but taking that time to be creative and focusing on that when there's a million other things to do sometimes is a challenge.
Yes.
But I love when I do put myself in the right headspace and focus in on that. I love that. But that's my challenge, is carving out that time.
You know what's interesting is I go to the botanical gardens, I go out of town, anywhere I go to a museum, and it brings your creativeness back.
Sure.
For me, it brings my creativity back. It brings thinking out of the box back, especially when you're at a museum and you have no one to bother you, or you're just by yourself.
Yeah.
It brings that sense of like, I could do this. Oh, wait, my business is this. I could do this.
I like nature for that too, though. Like you had commented on the gardens. I do like getting away. I like walking through the parks. I like going up to the lakefront. When I travel for leisure, it's usually to a very solitude, kind of quiet place, and a beach or a mountain or a lake, just to get away and just to think. And so I do like that as well.
You know, it was interesting. I worked in the Chicago Fire Department in the city for years, and I was the press secretary. I did projects, creative projects as well, marketing as well. And what's interesting is some of my best ideas came out of a bar.
Absolutely. My Thomas Patrick Consulting came out of a bar. I was on a drive home, and a very good friend of mine, John, who lives in Columbus, I stopped through Columbus on the way home to Pittsburgh, And he wanted to know what I was going to do next, and we started talking about it, and we started writing on a napkin. So absolutely, a lot of ideas come out of the bar, and some of the most creative ideas. Another friend of mine, Jeff, we've worked together on and off at different projects and companies, and sitting and having a few Coronas and drawing on a napkin, or spitballing ideas there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
It was funny. One of the best projects I did was create the bike team for the Chicago Fire Department for the city.
Okay.
Where you see paramedics on bikes downtown going to different neighborhoods and busy areas, different events. And it was interesting because I'm in a bar, and it was probably, I just got off work. It was late, probably 9, 10 o'clock, and I didn't want to go home. And I just went to the bar, and I just started thinking, like, what could brand the city?
Yeah.
What could brand the fire department? And I pitched the idea. I did some research, found out there was one other bike team in the United States, and pitched the idea and wrote this whole outline up. And I think I wasted a lot of time because the commissioner at the time was Raymond Orozco. And I pitched the idea to him, and he's like, great idea, go with it. I was like, I wasted all this time pitching the idea. I had to say, I want to put paramedics on bikes.
Yeah.
And create the bike team at different events. It's easy to get around. You don't have to use an ambulance. You get there, you treat the patient, then the ambulance will come up.
Sure.
So it was interesting because I wasted so much time doing this pitch. All I had to do was say, I want to put paramedics on bikes. And do it. It's your ball, your court. You do it and bring it back to me when it's done.
But you were prepared and the expert.
Yes.
I think that's part of it too. He probably knew that of you.
Yeah. And I actually went to the other city, was Boston at the time.
Okay.
I went to Boston and, on my own dime, and researched it, asked them what they did and everything, and they're like, yeah, this is a great program, we do it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pitch it to the commissioner at the time.
Good for you. Congrats.
Yeah. And now came All About Nothing with the podcast that I'm interviewing you now.
I love it. You never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
You never, ever know.
So tell me about your mom. You said that she was a significant part of your life.
She was a special person. I was raised by a single mother. Just a good person. Really dedicated her life to children. Mm-hmm. She was a pediatric nurse, and then went into home care and really started to pioneer home care for children on ventilators and respirators. Okay. And just her whole life was about children. And me, my brother and sister, we benefited the most from that. I wouldn't say that we were spoiled, but we were definitely spoiled with attention. Oh. And just a great lady.
But attention to detail.
Very much so.
Because you are now all about the detail of things, going to branding and going into other places and redoing their space and bringing new items into their space.
Absolutely. And I can trace that back to my mother too, because a lot of what she talked about was the detail to their care. Yeah. And the detail to how she wanted her team to handle the children. Mm-hmm. And so, I definitely, I think sometimes minutia is thrown out as a bad word, but sometimes minutia can make the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah. So tell me about some of your experiences being a small business owner, the impact.
One of the things that I like being a small business owner is being able to go in and sit at many different tables. Instead of just sitting at one conference room, being able to sit in and learn from all of my different clients, learn from their skill sets, and when I say clients, I mean the owners or the managing team. That's the biggest thing that I enjoy, is just being able to sit in and be lucky enough to be part of the team at so many different places. I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot.
How do you approach different places? Like, for instance, I'm just going to toss this out there. I don't know what design places you've done. Like a football stadium versus a corporate office. So
that's interesting. Now, I'm not directly impacting their design. I'm working with the salespeople that are working on all of those. But, they all have different end goals, if you will, and the programming for each space is different. And that really is where it comes down to the manufacturer that you partner with and the manufacturer that you, as a salesperson, would bring into those situations. Obviously, that there are, when you're speaking about details, there are people that are experts on office furniture. They might not be the expert on hospitality and furniture for a stadium in the private boxes and stuff. So it's just, knowing what people do well and taking the right thing in. As when I was a salesperson out selling, I worked on a few stadiums. I was lucky to assist on Heinz Field, where the Steelers play, when we furnished that. I worked on private boxes, luckily in Penn State, in Happy Valley, and then also for WVU in West Virginia. And just knowing who the right people are that are manufacturing the right solution, and knowing how to put that forward.
That's great. It was interesting. I'm just going to bring up a story. Like, I worked at Northwestern Hospital taking patients in and out of there, and they spent multi-million dollars on their ER.
Yeah.
And they opened it up. New patients are coming in. We're bringing patients in. So I looked in the ER, and I'm like, well, whoever designed this didn't have common sense. Never worked in the medical industry.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because all the computers was facing the patient's room.
Okay.
Which is a HIPAA violation.
Oh,
so if you have another patient, or you have in the back, you have 3 or 4 patients, they can all see the computer.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys are creating a HIPAA violation. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, all these patients can see other patients' charts.
There's a lot to think about when people are, these professionals are designing all of these, from HIPAA violations to ADA compatibility. I have a lot of respect for designers and architects who come up with these environments we live in every day, and everything they need to know, and how, from the correct lighting to the correct HVAC to the aesthetics to the functionality of it, as you spoke to.
Yeah. So how do you juggle all that? Being a small business owner, being a design consultant, how do you put everything together?
So what's interesting is really focusing on the training. So day to day, I'm not selling any longer. And really with where I'm focusing my design is training and teaching of our sales force so that they are prepared to go in and help architects and designers every day. And so that's sort of where I am, is one step removed from the actual process and helping to create the right sales tools and the right training so to take those salespeople so that they can be a help to the architects and designers as they design those specific spaces.
Okay.
So I love it. And I direct design, I get involved with, creating the perfect showroom and creating the perfect environment that entices that designer to want to use our stuff on their next project.
Okay, interesting. So, industry and neocon. Neocon? Am I pronouncing that?
Neocon, yes.
So, you have some news. Like, you were appointed to the advisory board council?
I was lucky about a year ago to be appointed to the advisory board here for Neocon. And Neocon is the largest furniture fair and design fair in North America. And it takes part in Chicago every year around the second week of June.
Can I come next time?
You can come. You have to come. We have a lot of great cocktails being served in this space. It's about 50,000 attendees.
Can I bring my camera guy?
Absolutely. You got to be here as well. And it is the biggest event with all of the biggest players in the design trade. And from architects and designers and furniture dealers, the people actually sell and deliver the furniture, all the way to end users as well too. And they converge here on Chicago, and they take part of mostly showrooms in the building, but there is also a second show, Design Days in Fulton Market, that is also part of the bigger exhibit and show as well too.
Okay. So we're going to go back a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because I actually want to know, how did COVID, the pandemic, affect in the winter months?
Yes.
How does that affect the design? Because everybody's looking to, no matter if it's big stadium or the small family, mom and pop or single person, is always looking to redesign their place.
Sure.
And I know I redesigned my place during COVID.
Yeah.
How does that affect your business and the industry?
So it really has had a significant impact on the industry. Everyone went home. Most of these people who sell contract or furniture for the workplace, there wasn't a workplace for a couple of years or 18 months. And so a lot of people had to reinvent themselves. I would say the industry is just now starting to be on a solid footing again. Some people still suffering from that as well. But people had to reinvent themselves. Corporations were reinventing themselves, especially as they were trying to convince people to come back to the office. So brands such as this that were in this showroom, Scandinavian Spaces, they sell a lot of ancillary furniture.
Okay.
And so brought people out of their home to be in a collaborative setting such as this. Started to become more important than the cubicle because you can sit at home and work alone. So
Yes.
a lot of offices became collaborative and they became places where you wanted to interact with people. And so the industry kind of hit a pause for a while, had to reinvent itself. And then as the world has started to open back up and now figure out what that new balance is, a lot of companies started creating more collaborative work environments because that was the driver to get people back into the office.
Interesting.
And private work, cubicle work can technically be done at home.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that, so
I don't know how many times I literally went to work, it was like, I could be at home.
Yes, absolutely.
I could do this at home.
And so companies such as Scandinavian Spaces, one of my clients, they've been able to really carve out a niche for themselves in being a source for ancillary furniture and creating the new work environment.
Yeah.
What we're doing here is really how a lot of people work today. You have your computer, you sit down, it's almost that, WeWork type application for it, and it's much more social.
Yeah. So where can people find you, first of all? Where can people find you?
They can definitely find me, thomaspatrickconsulting.com. They can definitely find me there. I have a full website with a portfolio of some of the work that I've done. So I'd love to talk with you. That's mainly where people can find me. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, too.
Okay. And how do you envision Thomas Patrick Consulting moving forward?
It's interesting. I was thinking about that this morning, preparing and thinking about this, and I want to keep partnering with companies that want to make a change and want to do something new.
Yeah.
I've had an unbelievable 10 years so far and worked with from amazing brands, and I want to continue that work with those brands, and I want to go after other brands that really want to change things up, do something new, and take some leaps.
Huge leaps forward.
Huge leaps forward. Yeah, I want to be creative, and I want to unleash the power of creativity for sales growth. Okay. And I think that is, if you go back to any company, innovations and creativity is what the driver is.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to keep partnering with people to do that.
Do you offer mentorships or anything like that?
It's funny, one of the things that I do is, because so many people have helped me, I try to mentor, informally. One thing I do, though, is part of what I do is corporate training as well, for in my little bucket, for people in the sales and marketing world, and working with them on executive training and corporate training as they go through their career. And I find that very rewarding. Okay. One of the things, owning my own business, I'm always presenting myself and selling myself, and so it's just natural fit to help other people go through that, because I'm always in that process myself anyways.
Okay. If you have one piece of advice that your mom, grandmother, another professional gave you, what would that piece of advice be?
Take the risk and just do it.
Okay.
Just go out and do it. Good things come when you do things.
There you go.
So that's, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining All About Nothing, Will Nice podcast.
I love it.
And we're going to have you back on.
I would love that. That would be a lot of fun.
I want to come to NeoCon so I could have a podcast with you at NeoCon.
I think you both have to come. Could you imagine this building with 50,000 people coming through?
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's packed. So we'll have to have a cocktail here. All of us.
Definitely. All right. Thank you for joining All About Nothing.
Thank you so much.
All right. And one more thing. Where can people find you?
ThomasPatrickConsulting.com.
All right. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later.